Welcome to Ferry's Film Vault, the show that gives you random film reviews through my perspective. Before we begin, I really need to get something off my chest, and that is the cancellation of Young Justice after only 2 seasons. I know it's a late announcement from me, but most importantly, why is Young Justice cancelled? That TV show is freaking amazing. But I guess if you don't sell enough merchandise, it doesn't really matter to the TV execs. So sad. On a brighter note, let's continue on with the third of this subscribers' request list, and that is Man of Steel. As you can tell from my shirt, I'm super excited to get this started, so let's reach for the sky.
Goodbye, my son. Our hopes and dreams travel with you.
He'll be an outcast. I'll kill him.
How? He'll be a god to them.
What if a child dreamed of becoming something other than what society had intended? What if a child aspired to something greater?
My son was in the bus. He saw what Clark did.
You're the answer, son. You're the answer to are we alone in the universe?
Can I just keep pretending I'm your son?
You are my son. And I have to believe that you were sent here for a reason. And even if it takes the rest of your life, you owe it to yourself to find out what that reason is.
How do you find someone who has spent a lifetime covering his tracks? For some, he was a guardian angel. For others, a ghost who never quite fit in.
A Man Made of Steel is an action-adventure fantasy film about a young itinerant worker who is forced to confront his extraterrestrial heritage when Earth is invaded by members of his own race. Or what I would personally summarize as Superman the Movie 2013. It's directed by Zack Snyder, who is no stranger to comic book films since he did direct 300 and Watchmen. With a story and screenplay written by David S. Goyer and Christopher Nolan, who previously worked on the latest adaptation of the Batman franchise. It stars Henry Cavill in the lead role, Russell Crowe, Michael Shannon, Amy Adams, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne, and so on. Just a solid stellar cast indeed. To me, this is a major reboot from the classic Superman movies, which looks pretty dated by today's standard. Of course, the basic mythology is still there, but it's definitely a complete, and I mean complete, retelling of Superman. So just be aware of this fact if you're a fan of the Man of Steel. I have to admit that the writing duo of David S. Goyer and Christopher Nolan have been pretty disappointing for me lately, especially with The Dark Knight Rises. And while I think that this was an appropriate retelling for the current generation, but somehow it felt a little off to me. There are some decisions that they took with the storytelling aspect for both crucial and trivial moments within the film that ended up seriously bugging me as a Superman fan. And while I have some issues with the story, I think that Zack Snyder did a fantastic job directing-wise, since he was able to capture the feeling of epicness that is Superman. The action was massive and intense. You could really feel that he's not holding anything back. They also went with a completely different approach on the designs of Krypton, unlike the white, deserted, snowy, crystal-like style that we're all familiar with, which I didn't mind at all. I especially love the armor designs. They just look so BA. I know this is irrelevant, but if Hollywood do decide to make a Gears of War film, use this design as the basis for the armors, please. Accompany that with an outstanding visual effects work, I can honestly say that the visuals alone is enough for people to at least check this film out. The main cast delivered a great performance. I was pleasantly surprised at how suitable Henry Cavill is as Superman, since his last 2 films was just plain bad. Although I have to say that Russell Crowe as Jor-El and Michael Shannon as General Zod steals the show for me. I love the approach that they took with those iconic characters. And finally, I have to mention the music done by Hans Zimmer, which was amazing, as it was able to further enhance the feeling of epicness of the film. After much deliberation, I'm giving this epic action sci-fi opera, yes, you heard me, opera, a good, since the pros do outweigh the cons in this case. The film was just plain entertaining and enjoyable as a whole. Plus, I have to say that it got better and better with repeated viewing, in my opinion.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
They'll race behind you. They will stumble. They will fall. But in time, they will join you in the sun. In time, you will help them accomplish wonders.
You believe your son is safe? I will find him!
My father believed that if the world found out who I really was, they'd reject me. He was convinced that the world wasn't ready. What do you think?
What's the S stand for?
It's not an S. On my world, it means hope.
Well, here it's an S. How about
Excuse me.
Now it's time for me to hang up my cape permanently. Can you tell that I'm kidding? But before you and I go, be sure to post any sort of comments you might have below. And if you have any film review requests for me, that would also be the place to post them. Additionally, if you like the show, be sure to show us your love and support by subscribing. It's just one click away, super simple. So you'll be in the know as to when the newest episode is being posted and etc. But that's it, folks. I'll see you at the next review.